Hello! At the start I want to say that the written version of the guide will be posted in the video description, like always. However, it won't be as detailed as the video one, because of limited space. If you struggle to replicate the build just from written guide, please watch the video. I will explain the build in more details. Today I will show you my new build for Chaoswalker that you can use in Titan Hunt. This build is actually inspired by Fidon build. Personally, I didn't think about using Chaotic as main thing in the build. The 1.5D patch changed how skill chains work, so now in comparison, Chaotic is actually viable alternative to use, as it doesn't have the same restrictions. This build focuses on the late game damage, so I recommend using it in the base Titan Hunt level, maybe Sigil +1. Anything above that makes enemies unnecessarily tanky, without giving us anything extra as a reward, because higher sigils don't increase the amount of materials gained. Naturally, we run last sigil to have access to Void King and its powers, and get all possible types of materials, including the Void Essences. So we pick fight weapon, the legendary one, which gives us access to our main skill, Crushing Darkness. It also has Descent artifact power, which will provide extra Doom stacks, and if upgraded enough, plenty of extra area of effect and movement speed at the start, which definitely helps. When it comes to runes, since I mostly make those builds as material farmers, I reserve 2 spots for material runes, which are Material Harvest and Efficient Extraction. Material Harvest being better for regular materials, and Efficient Extraction being better for Void Essences, aka boss parts. If you care about prestige levels, you can also take Ardous Training over one of the material runes. And for the third minor rune we take Endless Refill, which provides us with extra rerolls and locks every cycle. If you don't care about materials or prestige levels and you're playing normal way, you can take Reroll Mastery to have even more rerolls, and Weapon Expert as a third option to start with Crushing Darkness from level 1, instead needing to wait until you find it, which can take a while if not lucky. With major runes I went with quite unique setup this time. We are using Devastating Blow to reduce amount of skills available, to have higher chance that Chaotic will proc important skills. It also gives huge damage bonus from the Devastating trait, which can be scaled further. Second rune we take is something I've never used before in my builds, and that is Quality Standards. This rune makes so that we only have 2 options to pick from every time we level up, including picking new skills, but removes all white passives. Since we don't really need white passives in this build, this is actually a huge power boost, and since we use only 3 skills, finding the proper skills, even with this downside, shouldn't take that long. Next rune is Advanced Tactics, which gives us source of Brittle. We want to have Brittle for one of the Titan powers we are using in this build. Technically it is possible to get it the other way, but sacrificing one rune slot is better option. And for the last rune I went with Multicast Mastery, as it double dips on stack skills, so the Crushing Darkness, giving slightly higher boost than Savage Pact, which is also a good option. So for the skills, this time it's very straightforward. We don't use Divine Legacy, so we don't need to worry about having proper tags at certain level. We also don't need to snapshot anything. We start with Dead and Decay, the skill that comes with the weapon. And for the other 2 slots, I recommend just taking any other 2 shadow skills and replace them for the proper skills. Well, all 3 skills, replace them for the proper skills once you find them. This way you will have access to group shadow passives for some time. We will have plenty of rerolls to spare in this build, so you can even spend few rerolling skills instead of the passives. And for those proper skills we actually use in this build, here is the list. Chaos Bolt is used pretty much solely as chaotic support. Because of its low cooldown, it has 100% to trigger chaotic, which can be scaled further. Chaotic works pretty much like skill chains, except it triggers random skill, so in our case it will trigger one of other two skills, and skills triggered by it actually benefit from multicast, unlike ones triggered by skill chains. Like I already mentioned, Crushing Darkness is our main skill, our main damage dealer. It is stack skill, which means it deals extra damage for each doom stack on a target. This is why we want to apply as many doom stacks as possible. And our last skill is Light Beam, which will be our doom stack generator. It hits 20 times in total, each hit being able to apply multiple doom stacks thanks to passives. And on top of that it provides Exposed, which is huge damage multiplier, saving us one Titan passive, because normally we would need to take it from the Scorpion. Okay, when it comes to skill passives, let's talk about each skill separately. For Chaos Bolt, since it's our chaotic support, we want to lower its cooldown as much as possible to trigger chaotic more often. So naturally attack speed passives are priority. Since it can't trigger itself with chaotic, multicast for it isn't that important, and multicast also cannot trigger chaotic, only the first cast. But we can take it when there is nothing better available, and damage for it is completely useless, so we banish it. For Crushing Darkness, since it's our main damage dealer, we obviously want to prioritize damage for it. Multicast is also a good option for it, but not as important as damage, since we will have plenty of multicast from other source, and multicast has heavy diminishing return once we have a lot of it. Area of Effect is banished, because we will have enough of it to reach screen-wide area of effect from other sources. And for the Light Beam, which is our stack generator, we only care about multicast. It will give it little more extra cast on average, meaning more doom stacks applied. Since we will trigger it a lot of times with chaotic, taking attack speed for it is pointless, so we ignore it. And damage for it is completely useless, so it is banished. On top of that, since Chaos Bolt and Lightning Beam share frontal tag, we'll have access to group passives to frontal, ignore damage and area of effect passives to it, however take multicast ones. For general offensive stats passives, naturally our top priority is cast frequency, to lower cooldown of Chaos Bolt further. We won't be able to reach lowest cooldown possible, so there won't be point at which it stops being our priority. Since we banish a lot of stats, there actually isn't much left. Crit chance is second priority after cast frequency, as we don't have any good source of it in this build. And crit damage is at the last spot. Damage, including Leviathan, multicast and area of effect, are banished, because we have a lot of it from other sources. For defensive stats, we take movement speed until we feel fast enough, depending on the level of your weapon, which also provides some movement speed. It will be more or less around 200 extra, so when you reach around 250 in total, maybe 300. Personally, I think I banished it after 200. When it comes to HP, we are able to get a lot of it very easily because of our limited passive pool. Personally, I prefer to just not get hit than tank the hit, so I take HP only when blue tier passive is available. This gives me enough to tank some ground damage. I stepped in accidentally. And armor and block are banished because later on enemies penetrate 90% of our defense, so they are useless. Alright, since Magnet or the XP passives don't work on the XP we get in the past, the earlier we take them, the stronger they are, which means we want to prioritize them early on, and once we reach around 200 extra XP, we start to take them only when there is nothing better available, so usually only when blue tier passive appears. When it comes to negative effects, this build doesn't focus on them that much. Obviously our top priority is Doom, so we want to take Doom on hit and Doom on crit as many times as possible, because each level makes us apply more stacks at once. We don't care about Doom damage though, nor the instant Doom damage, as we only use Doom to support Crushing Darkness. Other than that, we will have access to Disarray, for which we take Disarray on hit once. 1 point will be enough to reach hard cap of 200 stacks, so don't need to take Disarray on crit in addition to that. Disarray gives us quite big bonus to damage, and we also use it to get access to Disarray to Disoriented Synergy, which is another big damage multiplier. Chaoswalker Ascension is pretty good even in Titan Hunt. We can trigger the first eye fairly fast, or fairly easy. The effect we get from activating it is random, but if we are lucky it can increase our damage significantly, because there is power that will double our cast frequency. We don't have access to white passives to make it feel faster, so we only take green passives, which increase duration of it. Ignore blue passives. For the synergies outside of the ones that come from Titans, we won't be using any of them in this build. Synergies you'll be able to find are Doom to Burn and Disarray to Bleed, however we ignore both of them. Already briefly mentioned few of things that we banish, so let's talk about it in more details. With our banishes, we want to focus on removing useless passives that will delete as many different passives at once, most importantly green and blue tier passives. This gives us much higher chance to find Doom on hit and Doom on crit passives. This is why we banish damage to our support skills, so Chaos Bolt and Light Beam, and also area of effect to Crushing Darkness. On top of that, we get rid of the less useful offensive stat passives, meaning we banish regular damage with Leviathan, area of effect, and Multicast. And from the defensive stats, we banish armor and block, and once we are fast enough, movement speed as well. This results in removing 10 green passives, 10 blue passives, 2 purple passives, and 1 legendary passive. Okay, so now that we know how the build works, what to take, what to not take, or more like what to ignore, and so on, time for another very important aspect, which are Titans and their passives. Order of them is quite important, and passives we take from them is even more important, so I recommend leaving at least 5 to 10 rerolls for each Titan to make sure we get passive we are looking for, and we can roll for specific Titan as our next cycle. So the first Titan we go for is Broken, aka Lizard, from which we take Shattered on hit power. Shattered reduces armor on enemies by fixed amount. For Titan Hunt 200 stacks is hard cap, so minus 200 armor on enemies. This means the power of it is directly related to how much armor enemies have, so the deeper we are, the weaker it gets. However, later on we use it for another Titan power, so it's always useful. Second Titan we go for is Arwanak, the Spider, from which we take Disarray to Disoriented Synergy. Disoriented provides 1% more crit damage for each stack, so it's 3 times more damage for the build. Third Titan on the list is Midorak the Beetle, from which we want to take chance to gain Colossal each time we apply Brittle. This is the reason why we want to take Advanced Tactics Rune. While a lot of extra area of effect from this power is nice, this is not main reason why we want to take it. And the fourth Titan we go is Mezahead, is Mezahead, aka the Scorpion, and we take power that allows us to spawn Sandstorms from the Colossal stacks. This is why we want to have the Brittle, to get the Colossal, and Colossal to have Sandstorms. These Sandstorms not only will provide us with Dazed, which is one of our main sources of crit chance in this build, It also provides a lot of extra hits that can apply Doom thanks to Doom on hit and Doom on crit passives. After beating 4th Titan, we go to Void King Realm. From Void Hunter, the mini boss before the King, we take 100% extra crit chance passive, since, like I already mentioned, we don't have good source of crit chance. And from the Void King himself, we take chance to apply wound on crit. Wound is unique negative effect which gives us 50% chance to apply double stacks of any other negative effect on the target, including Doom stacks, which are main focus on our build, resulting in 50% more DPS on average. After beating the King, our next Titan on the list is Midorak the Beetle, again, from which we take Exposed to Radiance Synergy. We get the Exposed from Light Beam. Radiance will apply Fragility on hit, which is very good damage multiplier, increasing our damage by another 3 times. 7th Titan we will be fighting are Vivolt and Valkaga, from which we want to take Radiance to Finesse synergy. Every time we prog Radiance, we will gain Finesse, giving us a lot of extra multicast. This is the main reason why we could banish regular multicast passives. 8th Titan on the list is Midorak the Beetle, once again, from which we want to take chance to gain aptitude each time we crit. With amount of hits in this build, in late game we can reach 800 or more stacks of aptitude, and since each stack gives 2% extra, this means 1600 extra crit damage, giving us a huge boost to overall DPS. 9th Titan are Vivold and Valkaj again, from which we want to take Shattered to Prowess synergy. This is the reason why Shattered is still useful even later in the game. Similar to Aptitude, later on we are able to reach 800 or more stacks of Prowess, giving us 800% extra damage. Keep in mind that stats from buffs are added to our stats, while stats added from or given from negative effects are multipliers. Alright, at this point we got all key elements of the build. We got all buffs and debuffs we care about, so now we will focus on scaling further our main mechanics of this build. Like I mentioned before, we have 100% chance to trigger Chaotic, but we can scale it further with passive from Mushroom. On top of that, our main damage dealer, Crushing Darkness, has 2 traits that scale its damage, Impactful and Devastating, which both can be scaled further. However, since Impactful requires us to stay very close to the target, we will mostly focus on Devastating, which we get or scale with passive from Twins. So for the remaining Titans we will be running Mushroom and Twins. So the 10th Titan will be Felipox, the Mushroom, from which we take potency of Impactful trait. Since early on it's still relatively easy to stay close to Titans, this will give us nice damage boost. 11th Titan will be Vivold and Valkage, from which we take potency of Devastating trait. So the one that gives us triple crit damage, scaling it further just makes that into 6 times crit damage and then so on. 12th Titan will be Felipox the Mushroom again. This time we take 50% more chance to trigger Chaotic. Since Chaos Bolt has 100% chance to trigger it, it's pretty much plus 50% to trigger it. So resulting in 150, then 200, 150 and so on. 13th Titan will be Vivold and Valkage again, from which we take potency of Devastating trait once again. 14th Titan will be Felipox the Mushroom again, from which we take 50% more chance to trigger Chaotic once again. 15th Titan will be Vivold and Valkage again, from which we take potency of the Devastating trait once again. 16th Titan will be Felipox the Mushroom again, from which we take 50% more chance to trigger chaotic once again. 17th Titan will be Vivold and Valkage again, from which we take potency of devastating trait once again. 18th Titan will be Felipox Demotion again, from which we take 50% more chance to trigger chaotic once again. 19th Titan will be Vivold and Valkage again, from which we take potency of devastating trait once again. 20th Titan will be Felipox Demotion again, from which we take 50% more chance to trigger chaotic once again. And for the 21st Titan will be Vivold and Valkage again, from which we take potency of a devastating trait for the last time. For the 22nd Titan, we go for the Felipox Demotion for the last time, but this time we take potency of impactful trait once again, so the second time. We'll be running only one more Titan, which will be the Spider. It's quite easy to stay very close to Spider, so making impactful trait even stronger will result in better damage against it than if we would take extra chaotic. And for the last Titan, 23rd one, like mentioned, we pick Spider, which is easier to kill, easiest to kill this dip. We'll leave after killing it, as Titans start to take too long to kill to be worth farming further. Okay, so that's all the information related to the build. Hopefully I explained it well enough that you are able to follow it. If you don't understand something about the build or have trouble with specific part of it, let me know in the comments, I will help you, or try. It's totally possible that I forgot about something, thinking that's obvious, not realizing that for new players it in fact might not be that obvious. I try to talk about everything in my guides, but there is a lot of things in those builds, so it's easy to forget about some less important part. You can also watch the full run of the build in the video I posted yesterday. I will put link to it in the video description as well. Alright, so I hope that this build will help you with farming materials, or maybe you will learn something that will help you in creating your own builds. Thank you for watching, I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day, bye bye.